Hey everyone, my name is Austin and welcome back to SOT Sports. As someone who went to WrestleMania 40 last year in Philadelphia and someone who was scrambling for YouTube videos trying to figure out everything I needed to do to take advantage of that whole experience, I figured I could help out any first-time WrestleMania goers this year with some tips and tricks to get the most out of your WrestleMania 41 weekend. This video is going to dive into everything from buying your tickets, the weeks of preparation before the weekend comes, the different events happening throughout those few days in Las Vegas, all the way down to the event itself. If you've been to WrestleMania before and have any other tips to share, definitely drop them down in the comments to help out your fellow wrestling fans, but otherwise, let's get started. So there's a lot to consider when buying tickets for this weekend. The event itself, there's tickets to look at for not one, but 2 nights now. If you're looking at the entire weekend, you've got WWE World, other events like SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, NXT, and Raw. It can seem a bit overwhelming, but I promise you it's all going to be okay. If you're just buying for one night of the show, let's say you're, really just going for Sunday night, don't be afraid to treat yourself, to get some better seats than if you were just trying to get in the door for both Saturday and Sunday. If you're buying tickets for both nights, that's where you might want to try and gauge some pricing on both nights for a 2-night pass or just kind of individual tickets for the Saturday versus the Sunday. If you're buying for both nights of Mania, don't be afraid to vary up your seats, both for pricing and also just to add some variety to the experience so you avoid getting bored. I could easily see myself, if I'm at a 2-night Mania in the same seat, kind of getting underwhelmed at certain parts of the show when it's 8 to 9 hours of wrestling and you've just been sitting in the same space for the 2 nights of the weekend. If you're really there to see, let's say, Cody Rhodes and John Cena on that Sunday night, you want primetime seating for that match over what might happen on night 1 with, let's say, if the Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins match isn't your cup of tea, you can always shift your budget around accordingly, maybe pay for a lower level seat for night 2 and then just a get in the door seat for night 1. You can also really consider the venue itself when looking at these tickets, whether it's an outdoor stadium versus an indoor stadium, what coast is the show on, the time of day. For me last year, I knew it would be an outdoor stadium in Philadelphia. I knew that WWE would have those 4 pillars on each corner of the ring to hold up that structure that goes above the ring for any, TV screens, any cages that they have. Those pillars can really impact your view depending on where your seat is, especially if you're on the diagonals, you might not be able to see as much. So I was looking at a lot of previous outdoor WrestleManias in comparison. Let's say when WrestleMania was at MetLife Stadium, that's a very similar look and feel, both weather-wise and just overall outdoor football stadium as what was going to happen in Philadelphia. So I did my research. For this year in Las Vegas, it's probably going to be a very similar layout to WrestleMania 39. At SoFi Stadium, so that is very much just an open layout. They didn't have the pillars, similar kind of warm weather, so probably like a 1-to-1 comparison if you wanted to go look at what it looked like at WrestleMania 39 on either of those nights. You'll probably get a good gauge of what it'll look like at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. Also, you should be sure to prepare for the weather. Obviously in Las Vegas in a dome for WrestleMania 41, going to be a lot different than WrestleMania 40 in Philly, where it was freezing cold for the Saturday night, very windy. Even the Sunday night varied a little bit, but still pretty cold. Obviously, you're not going to need your hoodies and rain jackets and sweatshirts in Las Vegas in comparison to the cold East Coast weather of Philadelphia or a venue like New Jersey or anything like that. Now, as for the Superstore itself, it's a lot like when you go to Disney World. The cost of getting to Disney World is expensive, but you're going to spend a lot more money rather than just on tickets itself. You're going to want to buy a t-shirt. You're going to want to buy some limited edition merch. It's going to add a lot to your budget for any souvenirs that you want. When I went last year, I ended up with one of the I Was There t-shirts, a Seth Rollins t-shirt, a WrestleMania hoodie, a baseball cap, a decal and a pin for my friends, and I even added on to that by picking up a program at the venue itself. A lot of those items are going to sell out fast in the first few days, especially with the 2-day format. People getting out to Las Vegas in this case for even the Wednesday or Thursday before the event itself. So a lot of those items are going to be out of stock almost right away. those limited edition belts, mini belts, t-shirts that might have some of the big names on them. If you see any of those things on the WWE shop website, you already know you want it, you're just waiting to pull the trigger, I would just buy them while you know they're in stock online. I myself waited to buy a few things in store. I wanted it to be that kind of like special in-person experience. I was looking to buy a mini belt at the physical store. They were sold out by the time I got there. Cody Rhodes t-shirts, they were mainly gone. Jey Uso Yeet shirts, they were gone. So definitely don't be afraid if you see something online that you want to just pull the trigger right away. For the WWE world, it's kind of been evolving over the last few years for sure. I would say a lot of people have asked the question of one day versus multiple days at WWE World. What do you need to do? What do you need to pay for in advance? Obviously, you need to pay for your ticket to get in. So you want to know what you're getting into when you go into a place like that. If you're looking to do the meet and greets and the autographs and all that fun stuff, obviously it's going to vary depending on what the schedule looks like. If you're looking for a Rhea Ripley or Stone Cold Steve Austin meetup, they might not be on the same days, so you might need to factor that into your timing. If you're really just going to check out what the experience is, one day is more than fine. I did one day last year. It was kind of a cool setup. They had, the talk show style format with Joe Tessitore and Rhea Ripley. I know they did the same thing with The Rock, with Cody Rhodes, all that throughout the week. So definitely just pay attention to those details, but you can really get all you need to do in one day if you're not going for autographs and everything like that. And for the other events throughout the week, definitely choose wisely. Kind of factor in your time, your schedule, how many days you're in the city. It will impact greatly what you're able to do, the amount of travel you need to do, the amount of lines you need to wait in, whether it's for SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, for the NXT events, any indie shows you want to go to, any live podcast tapings that a lot of these people try and take advantage of the timing with. It's a limited amount of time that you're working with. It's going to be a little easier with a city like Las Vegas in comparison to Philly, just based on the proximity of things. But you're going to want to spend more time than you think when you're at like a WWE World or the Superstore. You're waiting in line to buy merch. You're going to need to wait in line to get into the venue itself for WrestleMania. So just factor in everything, prioritize accordingly. Don't be afraid to drop some things from the list while you're at any of these venues in Las Vegas. And for the event itself, I would recommend getting there early for at least one of the nights, if not both nights, if you're going to both Saturday and Sunday, to get yourself settled, get any food, any of the merch that's on site that you might want. That might be a little more limited edition in comparison to what you'd find in the Superstore. For reference, I was one of the first people in the door at WrestleMania 40 in Philly. I was very happy about that. It gave me time to, go to the on-site merch stand. I got my program there. They had different pins than you might find in the Superstore. Some things that might have been out of stock at the Superstore I could find on site. I was able to get food. I got a cheesesteak before anyone even was able to get in line in Philly, which was great. Got a commemorative cup, got the whole deal. And then I was able to get to my seat, empty stadium, eat my food, get settled, take any pictures I wanted to take before the stadium filled up. Getting there early also, I would say, helps you figure out any routes that you might need to take for trips during the show, whether it's for bathroom breaks, for merch trips, if you want to go to a merch stand. I would just figure out what matches ahead of time that you'd be willing to miss. So when they transition to that segment of the show, you can just bolt out, get out of your seat, go to the bathroom, go to the merch stand, go get food, anything you need to do, knowing that you'd be okay missing maybe a filler tag team match in the grand scheme of things. And of course, I would definitely recommend taking tons of pictures, tons of videos. I know some people say it's best to just immerse yourself in the experience. You don't need to take pictures, take videos. WWE's doing their own filming. You'll be fine. But everyone around you is going to be doing the same thing. It's the 21st century. They're all on their phones. They've all got their cameras out. I love watching back the clips from WrestleMania 40 on the WWE YouTube channel, but it's very nice to have my own videos of Cody Rhodes' entrance, Cody Rhodes winning that match against Roman Reigns, hearing the reactions of everyone around me. You kind of get a different angle of people's, jumping up and down in the crowd. Everyone's very excited for it. So I think those make for a more organic experience if you're recording yourself versus just relying on WWE. Definitely along those lines, bring a portable charger. They are allowed. They'll be very helpful for a long show. I ended up plugging in probably around the halfway mark during the Sunday night just to make sure I was ready for that marathon of the last main event. So Very important to keep your battery. Also, for just safety purposes, leaving the arena, if you need to Uber, if you're just, walking around casinos, anything like that, very helpful to have a full battery. And last but not least, I would recommend just enjoying it. It's supposed to be a fun show, whether you're there with friends, you're by yourself. The whole thing's going to be made better by the people that are around you in the crowd. Everyone's enjoying themselves. If you're of age, you're having drinks. If you're a kid, you're just screaming, rooting for Cody Rhodes or John Cena, wearing your merch, anything like that. You're all in it together, no matter the age, no matter what seat you've got. You're all looking for the same thing. I went there myself last year by myself, made some friends with the people around me. The person next to me was from the same state randomly, which was cool. Everyone's traveling together. It's awesome. So you will have as much fun as all the people around you. So make it a good time, buy into the experience. It will be well worth it in the end. Overall, those are my quick tips for enjoying your experience at WrestleMania. These apply to, I would say, any year going forward at this point. Any 2-night WrestleMania is going to be about the same going forward, the same way that when WrestleMania was one night for so many years, you could pretty much do the same routine every year and have a fantastic time. So thank you all for watching. Again, be sure to comment below if you have any other tips or tricks that I might have missed from my own experience that you want to recommend to people. Like the video if you enjoyed any of these tips, if these were helpful to you, and subscribe so you don't miss anything going forward. We've got a big variety of content coming to the channel this year, especially heading around WrestleMania. So I very much appreciate all the support as always. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.